Good afternoon, dear students. Today we shall proceed with the next part in the security aspect called as a program threat. In the previous class, in the previous discussion, I already mentioned what is a security problem and then what is authentication, what is authorization. Authentication is something like proving whether you are a genuine person to access the system itself. Then authorization is something like you are trying to access the resources by having certain provisions. You are making use of those provisions. So later we proceed with the what we call it as various methodologies like encrypted passwords, then one-time passwords, then later using the biometrics, where the two different issues concerned to the security issues, authentication and authorization. Now we'll take up the next as an program threats. What are the different program threats are available at our disposal to take a note on that? The program threats are in generally when the programs are written by one of the user may use another, it may be used by another program. As you are already aware, you write a one particular program, you develop a one particular software. So certainly those programs, collection of those programs, either one or collection of such programs are now converted to a one particular exe file called as a software, and then that software may be used by someone else. Even if you look at the very lowest level of having a single program you created, you have written a particular program, and now you are giving it to someone else to use it. Now under this case there is a possibility of misuse of such programs written by you, and how it effectively had a negative implication or influence on the particular system or a security aspect. Now regarding the programs, what are the different types of programs which are posing certain threats, namely Trojan horse. Trojan horse is a one particular program itself. It's a piece of program which allows a one program to be executed by some other user. I have written a one particular program, and that can be used and executed by the someone else also. That is how it works. Now, if you take up a simple example, when a particular login information, username, password, some details are being asked. When you look at the particular login credentials, when a message flashes actually on the screen, what it does is it will accept the username, password and all login related information at the first sight. Then after you click on the submit button, it will show that invalid username, retry again. Then it will that screen vanishes. Again it will appear another screen, and then again you type and enter it. Now this time it will show if you enter the same information. Previously you have entered the same information, now also you are entering the same information, but in the previous login it has shown that failed to login. Now it will show for the same information successful login. So my point here is, when the first time you entered all the information, where it has shown for the same correct information, it has shown invalid input or invalid information or wrong information, is a program run as a Trojan horse. So that particular program is actually a Trojan horse. Now initially, after successfully copying all your content at somewhere else location, instead of saying successful login, it will say that login failed, because it is a different link itself. Not that information when you entered for the first time, now it has gone to the some intruders database, it has gone somewhere else. Now actually second time when it is being entered, now that will be a real database, and then it will log in successfully. You feel that there is some technical problem, so first time it has not logged in, but actually first time you have entered correctly. Still an impression is given to you by the system that by the Trojan horse, that you have entered a wrong information even for the correct also. But second time you enter the same information, it goes correct, then it logs in successfully. The point of problem here is, first time when you had entered the correct information, in spite of it has said a wrong, actually that has went to the some hacker's database, wherein he is a potentially misuser of whatever informations you have entered during that particular time. That is one aspect called as a program threat of Trojan horse. Now the second here is a trapdoor. Trapdoor is a one more way method of the programmer. What a programmer does in this particular trapdoor is whatever information is been given by a program, some loops are being created. I mean loopholes are being created in that particular program, and then through that particular loopholes they will enter into that particular system and then try to spoil the either environment or copy or whatever the things, mischievous things that can be done are done through this particular trapdoor. Then third is stack and buffer overflow. Stack and buffer. Stack and buffer overflow is an attempt made by the attacker. To make use of unauthorized access to the resources of the system. Say stack and buffer overflow in the sense when you are allowed to give only 10 array of indexes, but however he enters 11th, 12th, 13th, but however still it will it may accept, it may not accept. In either cases it will overutilize the system resources by which your system is being disturbed. So there is one kind of program threat, that is stack and buffer overflow. So these are the different ways by which the programs are what we call it as an through programs threat to the system. The next we talk about here is threats to the system itself by certain categories of the nuisances created by the programmer, namely system threat. System threat are most of the operating system processes, they spawn other processes. These resources may be misused. Spawning in the sense creating their own children. Now, whenever there is a what we call whenever any particular process is created, operating system has given a facility to spawn the process. Spawn in the sense copying of itself. Here I mentioned spawn is copying of itself using the system resources. When duplication is created with an intention that some creative work should be done. Now with that intention duplicates are created and those will be handling the different tasks assigned by the operating system. But in the worm what happens here is when a spawn which are created by one particular process, it blocks the other processes. The drawback of this is, especially in the case of the networks, it goes on blocking the all other processes which are around the network, and it will just keep its own copy alive. So that is the horrible aspect of the what we call it as a worm. Now next is a virus. Virus is, as you are already aware, it is a part of the program. It is a program which is designed to spread across the computer system itself. So which will spoil the system in terms of modifying, destroying anything of the files and other causing sometimes crashing the entire system itself. That is another different negative aspect associated with the virus. And when you compare worm with virus, worm is structured as a complete program. Fine. It is a separate complete program which intrudes on what we call it as it is an attacker. But however, this virus is a piece of code embedded in the program itself many times. Please try to understand the difference between worm and the virus. Worm is a complete program. A program, a spoiler, an attacker who has written a complete program could be a worm which will create multiple copies of the same process and blocking the other processes and executing its own. This is one aspect. The second is a virus which is not complete in its own. What it does here is it will be part of the program which will be blocking the resources, modifying, destroying the files, causing damages to the systems, or even resulting into the crashing of the system and even malfunction of the programs also. That is the difference between program and the virus. Then last part on this particular security aspect here is denial of the services. Denial of the services is another legitimate what we call it as an attempt by which the user is blocked. So name itself says denial of service in the sense whenever you are an authorized person but still, and say, consider for example, you are authorized person who is authorized to access 10 facilities provided by one particular application or whatever it is. Now when you enter successfully with all your credentials, now this particular program, which we call it as a threat, it will attacker program, what it will do is it will block some of your key access to the resources. Say if you go to the online banking system, wherein you have taken a privilege from the bank, being an authorized user, you have taken a privilege of viewing all your transactions along with making the transactions, also transferring some amount to some other account, and all the activities for which you are already taken the permission from the legal authorities. But however, when the attacker attacks through this particular feature called as a denial of service, what it does is it will allows you to view the balances, but however it will not allow you to transfer the sum amount from one account to the another account. Neither you transfer your own amount from your own account to the other subsidiary accounts of your own bank, or even you want to transfer to the some other account outside your own some other person, still there also you are unable to transfer it, because the key facility or e-service has been denied. So it neither gains information nor steals the information. Remember, it neither gains information nor steals information or resources, but it denies the legitimate use of the computer facility. So you are a legal user, but still you are not allowed to access certain resources. But however, it neither blocks, it neither steals or damages your resources. It is another kind of what we call it as a threat to the system. Fine, thank you.